What's up, gang? Cousin Justin here. You know, in a world where everybody is fighting for a little bit of your attention, I just wanted to appreciate you giving me some of yours. Enjoy the episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
What's up, man?
What's up, dude?
Good morning.
How's it going, buddy?
Doing great, man. Ready for another stand-up.
There it is. What do you got for me today?
Well, what we talked about yesterday, I've been cranking away at our product, just fixing the UI, figuring things out, and I had this moment, this really distinct moment where I was like, what if the GUI itself, the idea of the graphical user interface, like the whole thing was just crappy UX. Like every GUI we've ever made is bad UX.
There's your title.
Every GUI that truly, in and of itself, like when I think about what we have done in the past, what if it was just good enough for what computers could do at the time? And I'll tell you where the inspiration is coming from for this, because I have been doing a lot of AI experiments now, and I'm kind of like embracing this idea of non-deterministic computing, the idea that a computer could almost have a personality to it. And I don't want to get into these like debates over whether it's alive or not, or I'm not having a relationship with the computer, but there's a show called Halt and Catch Fire, and it's on AMC, or it was on AMC, and it's in the very first season they're playing a game called Colossal Cave Adventure. It's a game that existed back in the day where like it was these adventure style games that would give you a prompt basically, and you would have to type something back like cross the stream or hit it with a sword, and you had to get the commands really precise in order for it could only respond to kind of exact string matches or things that it knew about, right? It was very rudimentary, and people could jump over the code and find their way through it. And they're building a computer, very soul of the new machine style, right? Building this like microcomputer. It's supposed to be revolutionary. And Cameron, the genius programmer, decides that she wants the entire OS to be a conversation. So you'd say, I want to open Lotus Notes. I want to write an essay. And the computer just brings you the thing that you need in the moment you need it. There's zero friction. Right? That was the idea. Now, of course, as you turn the computer on, it says, hello, what is your name? And he types in his first and last name, Joe McMillan, and it doesn't respond because it doesn't respond to last name yet. Right? So and anyway, they go to this big demo, and ultimately her OS doesn't make it in because they couldn't get it working in time. They had to go with DOS or something like that. And after they demo and someone stole their idea, Joe walks over and he sees Steve Jobs demoing the Mac. And the first thing it does is say, hi, I'm Mac, like, and responds the way that her OS responded. And in this moment, you see, he goes, this was a miss. We should have done it like this. Now, ultimately, we went in the direction of why do we have the GUI? Well, because the GUI makes sense for what computing was. But now
the GUI gives you the options. You're the way you're going, you like expect me to know what I want.
You do know what you want.
I know, but when you join in on a product, let's say you sign up for Riverside, what we're using right now, I don't even know what I want. Like, you know what you want after using it for a while, and you're like, oh,
no,
like I want to adjust the
you're
gain.
You're not thinking about it right.
Right. So tell me.
I want to create a podcast. Great. Who do you want to add? I want to have a podcast with Justin. Great. I just emailed them the link. Here's the studio. When you're ready, tell me to play. I don't give a fuck about all this other shit. The sound bar, the mic. Your mic's not working. I found 3 mics on your computer. I connected it to the best one. I don't want to have to learn anything. The GUI requires you to learn. The GUI freed you from needing to learn the terminal. And it gave you, hey, this is the universe of possibilities. That's great. Now, why are we using Claude Code in the terminal? Because the GUI's annoying. Because now I'm like, I can type in English what I want, and I want you to figure out the best way to do the thing. I don't want to open Lotus Notes. I want to tell you I'm trying to write an essay. This is the program you use to write an essay. Hey, I don't like this program because of this, this, and this. Here's a program that fixes those issues. Try it out. Tell me what you think. I don't want to have to do the research. I don't want to have to browse web pages. I don't want to have to do that stuff. Because I want to be able to give you what my criteria is and for you to return the thing directly to me. I want to have a relationship with the machine. I want the machine to have a personality. And so when I think about the product we're building, you're trying to learn the product. You're trying to map what you want in business to the product. I, the engineer, have already done that. And now I'm trying to create with the designer the GUI that makes sense and that you still have to learn, because the reality is mapping business projections, time cards, your unique project use cases. This person gets paid this way. This person gets paid that way. You're trying to figure it out. And there's a way to do it. And there's a way to present it. But then you were like, I want it to be dead simple. I go, it's not dead simple because it took you 3 fucking years to learn how that works in our business. And so now you want to jump into a GUI and be able to do that in 2 seconds. But guess what? Guess who can figure it out faster than you? AI. So you could say, hey, I need to add John to this project. Done. I need these tasks assigned to John on this project. Done. I need to see if which projects are in the red on time cards or which ones are approaching it. What if it generated? Now, I'm not saying the GUI is dead, right? We still but what if it generated the view that you needed to see in the moment you needed to see it? And everything you wanted to do wasn't you going to the nav and hoping that it made sense. The other thing that this gets back to is we had a podcast yesterday with the frictionless experience, and we talked a lot about A/B testing. And it got me thinking that everything that I use in life is basically just tyranny of the median. 60% of people liked that, we're going to do that. But there was 40% that thought the other thing made sense. Fuck them. AI makes it so you don't have to do that anymore. So you're making these decisions. And I think there's going to be a ton of conversation around this. But I really, really believe that that's what happened. Was we were used to doing print design. You release a newspaper, it has to look this way. You release it, and we mapped that to HTML documents. And then we started getting different devices. So we invented responsive design and we started to build applications. But all of it is sort of inherited from this print design heritage and this idea that I have to ship the same thing to everyone. And we A/B test to find who the statistically significant majority is, and that's who gets the thing. I've made the argument too with accessibility that none of this is really accessible. For example, you have a hero at the top with a big, beautiful image, and then you have text over that and a CTA, and the ADA compliant version, if you close your eyes, is we're going to have a robot read the text and tell you what CTA to click. But everybody else gets a different experience. That image evokes a feeling in a sighted user that is a part of that experience. The ADA compliant equivalent does not evoke that feeling. The challenge then becomes, how do you evoke that feeling with just audio? Well, maybe it's hiring a voice actor to read the text who has a really nice radio voice that can evoke the same feeling. So we've always made things accessible to the bare minimum. But when it comes to our visual design sense, everything is built to get you to where you want. But now, what am I saying here? With AI-driven interfaces, we have a bit of an opportunity to deliver an individualized experience. And it doesn't have to just be in the form of the GUI, right? It could be in the form of the ADA, truly accessible, where it's like, I don't just want you to hear the text. I want you to hear the text and feel this thing. And I'm going to help you get there this way. And so that's just taking one disability into account, right? And so, man, and imagine the accessibility of, I need to buy this dress or whatever. I need to buy a dress, and like not having to like tab through tabbing through. If you've ever used what they call an accessible site, you would be like mortified.
It's horrible.
It's absolutely
experience.
And we try to do all we can to make it as good. But the fact of the matter is, point and click add to cart is still faster than like tab, quant, tab. Like, they don't get to skip the quantity selector. They don't get, you know what I mean? Like, there's sort of like, but man, what does AI enable? What does AI enable us to do? Not just in commerce, but in our interfaces. And so, yeah, that was where I was at with the onboarding, where I said, hey, you could you're going to have to make all these demo videos for our product, and you're going to have to account for all these personas there's the person like you who cares about the finance, but then there's also the project manager who's like, I just want a better way to do this. And then there's the engineer who's like, I want Claude baked into my platform, which we also did. Guess what? Every person needs something different from this platform, and you could make a video and hope you could capture them. Or when you first get there, you tell the platform what you need, and the platform can put you in the right place, do the thing for you, show you that it's valid, and give you a good response. So I'm extrapolating this, and I'm not saying that, listen, our platform will have a GUI, and it's going to have a GUI. But the experimental side of this is, what if UI was non-deterministic? What if the UI itself was generative?
Well, let me ask you a question. It's not that you don't have a UI, because like it's my thing that I need is going to display. Like I'm still going to have a interface that shows me the result of whatever I'm looking for. But the difficulty actually is knowing what you're looking for. Why are you here on this particular site? So it's like freeing somebody to just think dynamically about how they want to reveal the data. What you're saying to me is it's very clear, like the UI is not going away. It's how you interact with the UI. Like remember, we're really focused on the user experience, and the user experience of going to most websites, like take the hardest one of all of them, I think, which maybe is like Salesforce. Like I know what I want. I know what I want to have happen in Salesforce. I know that the data is in there somewhere. The search experience is not good enough because I can't speak to it in plain English. Listen, I haven't used Salesforce in a while. They may have already solved for this. There may be an agent right in Salesforce that just gives me what I need if I can tell it in plain English.
Well, no.
That would be great.
That agent will tell you, click here, go here, and you still have to do the things. But what if the agent said, got it?
Yeah, here you go. And listen, I don't know if they haven't done that yet. I don't know. But well, I see where you're going. Like, you still need the UI. It's just, how do I interact with the UI instead of a series of clicks and worrying about the navigation and what the button color is and where is it located and yada yada. It's just like, I'm looking for a pair of running shoes. Like, boom, it like shows me my 3 running shoes.
It's funny because you're right. You're going to have, picture this though. All of those components, like when you look at a page, we have arranged the page into a series of components, but what if all of those components could be arranged in any which way? And it was just like, hey, I'm looking to see these 3 projects, the time cards on these 3 projects, and it goes, great. And it just like brought you together a view. It wasn't like a URL change. It was just, now there is a view for project timesheets, but now there's a view for these 3 projects and their timesheets because the project card and the timesheet was generative and the filters were generative. And so it was able to put together. So I'm getting to when I worked at the Knot, we had this concept. We were looking, it was called it the remote view model. And we had built an entire concept that a server could stream the UI as JSON, and then React could render it, or the iOS app could render it, or the Android app could render it. And then I had like an interview with Netflix, and one of the projects was to build a bit of a front end framework. And I kind of took that even further, and then I kind of set all this aside. And now I'm coming back to it and I'm going, wait a minute. Could I stream UI as JSON? And AI would know that, hey, I have all these components available to me. I got tables with these rows, and they have a look and feel. We still have them designed, but it's really the whole UI library is available to it. And all of them have a use case that it knows about. And based on the data you request and the thing you want to do, it's like, this is how I'm going to display this to you. And what if you'd said, you know what, can I see that as a donut graph? No problem. It's not relying on me trying to anticipate that 51% of the users wanted donut graphs, because 49% like the bar chart. And then and do I show both? No designer is going to show both because it's too much, right? Or maybe we offer a toggle for both. But what if you said, I need to see this as a bar graph, and it came as a bar graph, or something we didn't think of. I need to see it as a line graph. I need to visualize these 2 things together. Is there a way to do that? And then what does that mean when the UI AI is like, actually, I don't have a way to do that, but it submits a ticket to us. Hey, we could use a component like this because users are asking for it. So that's where I'm at. And then the onboarding becomes a lot easier because we've talked about this challenge too. You're like, I want to start with QuickBooks. And I go, yeah, but what about people who are like, I want to start with my projects. I only have one contract. I just started my agency yesterday. The onboarding. So now you're going to say, what % of people want to start this way versus this way? Or then you could ask the question, but then somebody could come in and say, hey, this is whatever. This is a project manager. Where do you want to begin? Hey, I have a project. I wanted to use the Kanban board. Great. This is how we'll get you going. What's the name of the project? Great. Enter 5 tasks. Perfect. I set it up for you. Here's what it looks like. Do you have any expenses that are associated with that project? How about the staff? Starts putting employees in for you. Employee's name is this. It knows how to piece it all together, so you're not the setup process becomes more fluid. Oh, I have a spreadsheet of all my employees. Here it is. Great, I'll take that spreadsheet and import it. We don't have to build an importer from Bamboo and 10 different pieces of HR software that they were using previously to integrate this stuff in, right? Integrations are painful because now it's, do I integrate with QuickBooks? Do I integrate with Xero? Do I integrate with FreshBooks? Do I integrate with Sage? Do I integrate with NetSuite? Who's going to be the customer? It doesn't matter. Get it as a CSV. AI can take that dirty data and map it to our data structure. So it becomes a totally different equation when we think about what the user experience could be. And it's so funny to me because I'm like taking this thing all the way back to the 80s here, where I'm like, was the dream in this first season of *Halt and Catch Fire*. And for the first time, it's like actually a little bit within grasp. So I really wanted to do a proof of concept, but I'm getting ahead of myself where we're at because there's still things I have to do in the product to get it out in the traditional sense. But I'm willing to bet the way that one of the reasons Claude Code has taken off and the terminal in general, and they're like encouraging more people to use the terminal, is because we're like, what if the GUI wasn't entirely necessary? And people are the terminal, it's like generative on the fly. Like, if Claude needs to show me a table, it'll show me a table. If it needs to show me a checked off list, it shows me it literally shows me what I need to see when it's building its plans in the form. Now that it's constrained by what the terminal can render with, what you can render with ASCII characters, but it is in fact a generative UI of sorts. And I've become a little bit impatient with the idea that like I have to learn how to use the product, not before I can get the value out of it.
Well, you know what the real issue is that most people buy a SaaS product off the shelf and use about 20% of it.
Yeah.
I
so
don't
you're
want
seeing the whole, right, exactly. What if the UI just didn't show you that?
Yeah, like what's my 20%?
That could be the future of SaaS, really, which is like, hey, we're not even going to clutter this thing up with the 80%. Salesforce is the biggest offender of this.
Totally.
You're using 5 to 10% of that product. And like, it's just a hodgepodge of stuff, and it's so...
But everybody uses it uniquely.
Features are friction, man. Features are friction. But this is the idea is like, we always talked about this. With great flexibility comes great complexity. But what if maybe that isn't going to always be true?
It's great complexity for a human. It's great complexity for an architect. Maybe it's not great complexity anymore. Maybe great flexibility is just about having complete thoughts and let the machine air it out. For me, lots of times, I'm not even sure what I want. I just know I need something.
That's what I'm saying.
For example, I'll give you an example. I was playing with Claude last night. I plan to use Claude to build the pitch deck for Fin Forecasting. I'm going to feed it our brand style guide. I'm going to have it make our brand style guide. We don't even have one. I'm going to have it make our brand style guide. I'm going to feed that information to it. I'm just going to tell it what my parameters are. What am I looking to do? I'm going to have it make a version for private investor angel style. I'm going to make it for an institutional one. I'm going to make it for a friends and family version. I don't know what each slide is going to say. I don't know what the best story to tell is. I'm going to have it reference the best slide decks that are available in current venture funding. I'm just going to tell it what I need from it. So with that great flexibility, I'm removed from the complexity of the thing that I'm asking for. And I'm not even talking about code. I'm just saying, like, think about how many hundreds of hours people are putting into creating a pitch deck. And I'm going to
How
do
do
it.
I make an animation? Why do you need to know? You know you want it to fade in from the left. That's
Totally.
the important part. Every little piece is Riverside is an amazing example. Yesterday we were sitting here trying to figure out this shit
Yeah.
with the microphone.
Someone troubleshoot, please.
And the troubleshoot was you needed to go to the microphone settings and pick the right microphone. But you know what would have been better? My mic doesn't sound right, Riverside. Looks like, is this the right microphone? No. Okay, here's the other two available. Use that one. Like, that's the better experience. The better experience is don't make me think. The classic book, don't make me think. I'm telling you what's wrong, and I need you to troubleshoot it for me. And it's I think that this is like, man, the possibilities for me are...
You know what's interesting? We have lots of customers right now that are asking about specifically the topic of A/B testing and personalization.
I think
it kills both of those things. Yeah, it kills both of those topics.
Right. We've talked about an A/B testing tool, and you know what? It just like the word that I want to use is pedestrian. It's
the
pedestrian.
Slow route. The slow path. Well, it's discrimination. It's discriminatory. It's like, it's great. So like statistical significance is going to show 70-30, 60-40. And like you're giving it to the majority, but you're right that there's a neglected, discriminated minority based on the test results. And what happens if like those people are not going to, they're just being forced into the UX that converts, or the
right.
UI that has the likeliest way of a conversion. So this is what I was talking about yesterday on the podcast with Nick, is like attribution is actually the hard part. But what happens if you forget about the attribution, just give people the experience that they want? And that's what's going to create the retention. That's what's going to create the buying signal. That's what creates whatever the conversion is going to be. If your UX problem is people are not remaining on your web experience, your app, or whatever it is, it's probably because you didn't get the right UX for that individual. So what happens if you just, now I can't take this lightly, because you're going to ask people to completely change their behavior, right? You're going to ask people to like give up their experience using UIs. You're going to give up classic user experience. There's still going to be a generative UI that I have to figure out how to navigate, and you know, I'm still going to be in somebody's app. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to retrain an entire generation of what it means to interact with a web experience, which is pretty fucking exciting.
Right. Well, the idea that, you know, a part of design is it learnable? Well, now the idea of that, like, that's like, yes, it's very learnable, because the interface is, you're just going to tell it what you want. And that is, it shortens that curve. It's not, is it learnable? Can you find your way around things? So yes. This is, I think this is the future of UI design. And I haven't seen anybody do anything like this yet, other than the stuff that's happening in the terminal. But I think that it's going to come to the web. It's just going to take a very long time for designers to come around to this. Just like responsive design. It took a very long time for designers to come around to the idea of responsive design. And
you're still seeing the friction, but dude, what a good topic. We'll talk about this ad nauseum, continued and going forward. Every GUI ever made is a bad UX. It's kind of bold. I hope that goes viral. Yo, I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for a great episode.
See you tomorrow. What's going on, Phil?